Hey, welcome back, everybody. It is Thursday morning, and this is Thursday Morning Live. I'm stoked about this morning's episode. I have a great guest, and I'll get to that in a minute. But hey, what are you intentional about this morning? How's your week going? What have you been working on? And are you staying focused on what you need to be focused on? I want to remind you coming up October 17th and 18th is our fifth annual multifamily summit. This 2 day virtual event is going to be action packed. We're going to go from 9 to 5, 2 days straight, working lunches. We're going to work right through, and you can do this from the comfort of your home or your office. If you can't be there for the whole event, it will be recorded and you'll be able to gain access to that as well. But I have some great speakers this year. Actually, my guest this morning is going to be a speaker at the summit. We have Neil Bawa, Vina Jetty, Matt Faircloth, just to name a few. But this year, we're going to talk about everything from how do you get started to underwriting your deals to raising capital, all the necessities that you need to take your multifamily business to the next level. And what we know right now is that this market cycle is going to be changing. And today is the time that you need to start to position yourself in front of that next bull run to take advantage of what's coming down the road for you. Hey, my guest this morning is Kaaren Hall. Kaaren is with uDirect. uDirect is a self-directed IRA vendor, and we're going to talk this morning about how to maximize your returns in your IRAs. Kaaren, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Wow, I love the intro. If my coffee didn't wake me up, that did.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah,
I always do that just to get a little powerful right in the morning, right?
that's
Hey, it's
great.
good. We already got some people logging on. I'm excited about that. If anybody who's logging on has questions, throw them in the chat this morning. If you want to just say hi, say hi. Let us know where you're from. It's interesting, Karen. I was telling you before we got
Mhm.
started this morning that when I first started this, I was living in the Midwest. I was living on Central Time. It was 8:30 a.m. And now living on the West Coast, and you're an early bird too. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you for being up at 6:30 this morning, getting this thing going with me. So
Oh, this is great. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
yeah, you bet. And God, you and I have been friends for
Long
15
time.
years,
Oh,
maybe
longer than
long.
that. Longer than
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. And it's always good to reconnect, talk about business, talk about life, get together, socialize, and we've had some great times doing that. Hey, before we get going this morning, though, and and I find this kind of interesting right now to ask you this because we have known each other so long. But in one word, what would best describe you personally and professionally?
Um, okay, well, one word could be bossy, but I would rather say diligent. I just, or even responsible. So there's three words. I just, I'm also focused. So get stuff done.
Yeah, diligent. Where do you think diligence comes from?
Oh gosh, being a mom, being like my bio says, I was single, a mom, and lost my job, and I like, what am I going to do? I've got a mortgage and two kids. What? And it just like everything that I have inside me, I just went with it and created uDirect IRA services, and now here we are, 15 years later, and we're just a roaring success. So yay.
Yeah, you sure figured it out though, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it took a hot minute. It wasn't easy. There are a lot of challenges, but I mean, here we are. So super grateful.
You know what's interesting is I think when you have that entrepreneurial spirit within you, and and you have that you're driven or you
Mm.
have that desire, it doesn't make it easier, but it makes it fulfilling.
It does. It does. When you have a second to stop and kind of look back at the path you've walked, or I'll do, and like, wow, it's covered a lot of ground. So yeah, it is very fulfilling. It's
Yeah.
very rewarding. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's interesting what you just said too. I think we can look at today and say, man, I have
Mhm.
such a road ahead of me, or I'm not getting enough done. But when
Yeah.
you look back and you think about where you've come from, uh,
Yeah.
and you think, well, where was I back then when I was wondering what I was going to do with the rest of my life? And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, here you are 15 years later, right?
Yeah, lots of days I didn't think I'd make it this far. Starting a business, any new business. What do they say? Most fail in the first year,
Yeah,
and very few are still around after 5 years. But to be around after 15 years, I'm just full of gratitude about that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Well, my hats always go off to you, that's for sure. So, um, hey, so why don't we tell the listeners what uDirect is and
Mhm.
what you do and the service you can provide for people?
Right. So what uDirect is a company that helps you take your money from your retirement where it is now and move it into a self-directed IRA so that you can take your retirement dollars and invest them outside of Wall Street. We all see how volatile Wall Street is, and it's not like other asset classes aren't volatile, they are, but self-directed IRAs give you this giant like world of choice to invest in different asset classes, like of course multifamily, syndications, and even cryptocurrency and precious metals, and performing and non-performing debt. So many different asset classes. So uh, I think, and the reason that it's so important is because a lot of Americans don't have enough to retire. There's a big deficit, and we've got to find some way to save and invest and save. And alternative assets are the way for a lot of people. And the self-directed IRA is the vehicle to get from here to there.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because there are so many people out there that don't know that you can self-direct your own IRA funds.
Yeah,
You know,
even
I
still.
I, I was actually on the phone with an investor this week talking about their their IRA, and the guy actually said to me, "I can't do that. How do you do that?" I said, "No, this has been around for years, and
Yeah,
so it's an education process for people sometimes. So
it
how do
is.
you get the word out there to people? What are your means for, you know, marketing your company, for lack of better words, but marketing the concept and the idea,
Yeah, what you say is shocking that someone didn't know about it because it's been around for 50 years.
right?
Now, if I was TD Ameritrade or Merrill Lynch or something, what I would do is I just put an ad on the Super Bowl, right? But our industry, we don't take the profits from your investments. We have fees, but we're not sharing in your profit, which is great for you. So this whole self-directed IRA offering or ability is really grassroots. There are, I don't know, maybe a couple dozen companies in the country that do this. And we're all out there pushing. We're all out there speaking, talking, teaching, and everything we can do. I'm going to something later on today to talk about it. And I'm talking to you right now. It's just one on one. But when you hear it, you think, oh, that makes so much sense. And I think that everybody seems to come upon this moment in their lives where they think, all right, well, I've got a job, I'm doing this, but I want some wealth.
Right.
Maybe it's inflation, and I need more. I want to do better. I want to do better than I am. So you go to something like this upcoming event that you're hosting, Mike, because you want to learn how to improve yourself and improve your situation. And then you hear about self-directed IRAs. It's like you want to
Right.
get from here to there. Maybe you don't have a lot in your savings account, but maybe you used to work somewhere. You have an old retirement plan. You can just move that over into a self-directed retirement plan and start, self-directing into different asset classes. So I think this is how people hear about it because the whole industry, we're talking as loud as we
Yeah.
can, really.
Right. So, I talk it up all the time in what I do, right?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
we're always working with private investors,
Yeah.
bringing them in our real estate offerings to invest. But two things always come up, right? And the first one is that people say, "Well, I'm going to call my broker at, you know, Edward Jones or
Yeah.
Fidelity, right?" And I
Yeah.
always go, "No, no, no, you can't do that, right?"
Right.
uh, Talk to that for a minute. Why do not the traditional brokerage houses have this option?
Right. And this is a misunderstanding. And so let's just clear it up. An IRA is an IRA. And what it is like a bucket that holds retirement dollars. Okay. That's an IRA.
Mm,
Now, whether or not it's self-directed or not is something else, but it's just one kind of IRA. So the people at the brokerage houses, what they do is they offer you market correlated assets. And the reason is because that's what they're licensed to do. They're not licensed and they can't suggest that you invest in alternative assets because their licenses don't let them.
Right.
But the same IRA bucket, the exact same bucket, can hold alternative assets. But you have to open an account with a self-directed IRA provider, so that because that provider is allowed to hold alternative assets. So as far as the IRA bucket itself, the IRS has rules for IRAs, not self-directed IRAs and typical IRAs, just IRAs, because the rules are the same. But you have to have a different provider to have a self-directed IRA. But these people, they're so clever. What they do, like Fidelity, they'll say, oh yeah, you can self-direct this IRA. Sure, we'll let you self-direct. You can invest in any stock you want or any mutual
Right.
fund you want. But what we're talking about, you and me right now, is a truly self-directed IRA, one that lets you invest outside of Wall Street. So that's
Right.
that's the difference.
Yeah, and in your self-directed, you can invest in stocks and bonds or
Mhm,
alternative assets. And that's
mhm,
the space that I play in, is alternative assets, right?
right,
Which real estate is, but there's others as well.
mhm.
Here's the other thing that comes up a lot with people is, oh, I can't do that. I don't want to pay the tax that would be due.
So true. No, a transfer from custodian to custodian is not taxable. Even if your custodian writes a check to you, you have 60 days to get it into a retirement account. You can do that once in a 12-month period. So you can definitely avoid any tax from moving from custodian to custodian. Yeah, and also the amount of transfers you do from IRA to IRA is unlimited. There's no limit to how many times you can transfer money from one IRA to another.
Right. It's awesome. So it's really it's a vehicle that really will benefit people
Mhm.
long term in their wealth generation, right?
It does. It does. And when we talk about wealth generation and you look at the American pool of retirement dollars, it's a big pool, but we have a lot of people. But it's around 38 to 40 trillion dollars in retirement savings. Like, wow, that's such a big number, right? But most of that is in the stock market. Like the probably 95% of that is in market correlated assets.
Yeah, interesting. How
Yeah.
much money is actually, and I don't even know if you know this number, this just kind
Right.
of, how much money is invested in savings or IRA investing today?
Well, I mean, IRAs in general, it's about 14 trillion of that pool. And that's just IRA accounts, whether regardless of what asset they're holding. I mean, there's IRAs, 401ks, defined benefit plans,
Right.
annuities, all different kinds of retirement plans that equal that 40 trillion number. But about 14 trillion is just IRA accounts.
Yeah. It's interesting. So I want to shift gears a little bit, if we can do that this morning.
Mhm.
I want to talk about the upcoming summit.
Oh,
So
yeah.
uDirect is a sponsor again this
Mhm.
year, and you're
Mhm.
going to be speaking. You're going to talk about IRAs and kind of the process and all of that at the
Mhm.
summit. What I'm super excited this year because we have such great speakers. I know you've been to the summit in the past.
Yes.
Any thoughts around around this upcoming year?
Yeah, I mean, you really do have a great list of speakers. That's amazing. And I think that anybody who's looking to build their wealth wants to learn how and where. You can't go to multifamily school, it's not, you can't get a degree in multifamily. So what do? I mean, you go to this summit and you listen from professionals like you, Mike. My gosh, you've been doing this for a long time. Neil Bawa, wow, somebody who's people have boots on the ground. They're doing this every day. They know what's going on today, what the trends are today. Maybe it's, there's so many different challenges. And what are the challenges today? Is it financing with rates? Is it supplies? What's the cost of lumber to build? There's so many factors in creating multifamily. And what if you're wanting to build a multifamily building? Well, what about raising capital, right? So
Right.
layer upon layer. And most individuals aren't an expert in every field. So you listen to something like this amazing event you've put together. Like, kudos to you, because you're doing a great service to people who want to be wealthy. But in one sitting, you can just, like, soup to nuts, man. You've got the whole thing covered, how to do this whole thing. I don't think you've left anything uncovered. So it's so valuable, just so
Yeah.
valuable.
I appreciate that. And, what's interesting is,
Mhm.
you had mentioned, businesses fail in the first year, businesses don't make it to the fifth year. This is our fifth summit.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'm super excited about that because the speakers just keep getting better,
yeah.
right? And so many people had called this year and said, "Hey, I'd like to speak at your summit this year,"
Mhm.
and we couldn't put any breaks in. So we're going to go from 9 to 5 for 2 days,
Gosh.
straight through working lunch. And, I think that it's going to be captivating. Karen, I have a panel, one of the panels that is going to be on
Hmm.
top performers, right? And our
Yeah.
good friend Forrest is going to run that panel
Oh
this year.
yeah, yeah,
And the people on this panel, they have done over 100,000 units
wow.
transactions in the last 10 years. So can you even imagine the valuable nuggets that you're going to get from this group of individuals just
Yeah.
talking about how to do business in today's market?
You should call it a multifamily telethon. You're like Jerry Lewis of multifamily. This is fabulous.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting. Great sponsors this year, great speakers. Neil Bowie, you mentioned, is going to be
Yeah.
talking about market cycles. And here's something interesting in the multifamily business, or in any real estate. It's not. There's no geniuses in this business. I mean, people can get started in the business with no money, no experience, no knowledge, using other people's money, creative
Yeah.
financing. It really is simple. All you have to do is get the little education, take some action, and you can grow. But but here's what I say: there's no geniuses in this business. There's only market cycles.
Okay.
And you know, based on your experience in the market, the last 15 years, you've seen
Yeah.
some ups, you've seen some
Yeah.
downs.
Yeah.
Where do you think we're at right now?
I think you mentioned it earlier. We're kind of in a wait and see sort of thing. I mean, we always have to be investing. I think it's you buy real estate and wait, right? You don't wait and buy real estate. But who Mark Twain or something said that,
Yeah,
but it's so true. So it's never a bad time, I think. But I think with rates so high, we think they may come down, and rates certainly are a key factor in investing and. Even with self-directed IRAs, if maybe you're going to use other people's money, maybe you're going to have somebody else's self-directed IRA make a loan to your deal. Well, at what rate? What's the market rate? And so that is going to determine the profitability of your deal. Now, how much do you have to? What does that money cost you? Or even if you're borrowing it from a self-directed IRA or a commercial lender, whoever you're borrowing it from. So, I think rates are kind of iffy. They may go down. We hear so. Uh, in my office, what I see coming through the door is just no hesitation from investors to invest.
yeah,
People are investing in all kinds of deals every single day. So I'm not seeing a hesitation in actually pulling the trigger and moving forward.
yeah. So are you finding the investor climate today is more, hey, I'm coming off the sidelines, it's time to get started again?
Yeah, yeah. What I'm seeing, which is interesting, is I'm seeing a lot of big money in coming into the self-directed. I like big deals. People taking down like million. There aren't a lot of $1 million IRAs. I mean, as a percentage, but I'm seeing $1 million IRAs come through. Like, okay, I'm doing this now. I'm doing this now. But I mean, what I would do is I would talk to the investors themselves and ask them, because you can do this at this multifamily summit, and ask them why. Why now? What is it? What do you see now that makes you want to pull the trigger? And I think that's a great question that will be answered at your summit.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
you know what? And I want to just tell people too, there'll be a VIP option.
Mm-hmm.
And as a VIP, you're going to have the ability to network a lot more, to
Mm-hmm.
rub shoulders with the speakers, with the panelists. You're going to be able to get more information from people, the night before, Kaaren, and maybe write this in your calendar, we're going to do a VIP experience.
Okay.
And we're going to have in a private Facebook group, and we're going to have all the speakers, panelists, and anybody who wants to attend. And we're going to just everybody's going to get an opportunity to
Yeah.
share. And here's what I like about networking events, and I kind of like to go to networking events that you're not just walking around meeting people, which are great,
Okay.
but I like when they're a little more structured, when you get 30, 60, 90 seconds to stand up and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I'm working on, and this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That's good networking, right? Because if I'm in a
Yes.
room of 40 people that are doing that, and I can say, oh, I want to go talk to Kaaren, right?
Yeah.
I need to go connect with her because I'm thinking about rolling over my IRA,
Yeah.
or I need to go talk with Mike because I'm thinking about investing my rolled over IRA
Yeah.
into a real estate asset. So that's good networking stuff. So
Oh, I agree. And that's the power of I think the whole real estate community, everyone is so willing to share their
right,
information. And it's not like, keeping it close to your chest. It's like, no, here, you prosper too. You do great too. You do well, I do well. And it's I don't know, it's just I love I don't know, the vibe of it. It's very open and sharing.
yeah. And you know what? I think the industry as a whole, the real estate space as a whole, is a great industry. I mean, I
Yeah.
think we both have it in our blood for years
Yeah.
and years,
Yeah.
right? So,
True.
hey, one last question as we start winding down. You've been to the summit the last several years.
Hmm.
You kind of know what goes on. You've seen the growth of the summit. We had
Yeah.
100 people register last year. What would you tell somebody who's just thinking about it right now, saying, I don't know if I want to spend the $37 today to go to the summit? Is it really going to be worth it? What would you tell somebody as an attendee coming to the summit why they should go?
I would say anybody who is looking to build their wealth and looking for ways to do this that are just completely plausible and doable, and just somebody who's really ready to pull the trigger. What's $37? I mean, that's putting your family through the drive-through at Starbucks,
Yeah,
as opposed to building your own personal portfolio and creating your own estate of wealth. And again, with the speakers you have, I can't believe how many people you've got speaking at this. This is fabulous. It's so much value, and kudos to you and thank you for putting this together. It's just a tremendous value.
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. And
Yeah.
just a little bit more about speakers. We're going to have Matt Faircloth,
Oh
who,
yeah. Yeah.
probably $1 billion under management. Vina
Yeah.
Jetty is going to speak.
Yeah.
We're going to have Michelle Fitzpatrick, who's going to talk about 1031s and
Yes.
how to kick the can down the road on your taxes.
Yeah.
We're going to have a panel on raising capital. And I think that when you look at the multifamily business,
Mhm.
there's that there's two factors. You got to know how to underwrite, but you really have to know how to raise capital. So come and get a kick in the butt if you're already in the business. Come and get educated if you're trying to get in the business. So, Kaaren, listen, how do people get a hold of you if they want to talk with you about their IRA, about doing a rollover, about building wealth for themselves?
Right. Well, I mean, go to our website. It's the letter udirect.com, just udirect.com, or hit us up, send us an email, info@udirectira.com, and we will shoot you over whatever information you need. You can set up an appointment. We offer a free 20-minute consultation to talk about your deals. What are you looking to do? Does it fit in a self-directed IRA? And any questions you might have. So really, our website is just a treasure trove of great Q&A, and we've got a great blog that has so much information about the self-directed space.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm looking forward to you being at the event. We're going to see each other a couple times before that. Looking forward
Yes.
to that. You have a great day, a good week. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here this morning. I want to encourage you to reach out to Kaaren, reach out to
Mhm.
uDirect. talk about your situation, your financial situation, and what you can do to help increase the profitability within your IRA. It's not getting any less expensive to retire, especially 10, 20 years from now. So if you're working on that today, get started on that today. And if you're somebody who's looking for a shot in the arm or to learn more about the
Mhm.
multifamily business, don't forget our summit. Go to multifamily24.com, get registered today, and participate with everything that's going to be going on. All the
Yeah.
great speakers, the networking, the giveaways, the reception, the VIP reception. We'll look forward to seeing you at the summit. Kaaren, have a wonderful day.
You too.
Travel safe. I know you're going to speak at another event,
Yeah.
and have a great weekend.